Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? All right, at this time, we'll call the March 17th, 2025 Planning Board meeting to order. We have quorum, so if everybody please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will move to item 2A, approval of meeting minutes from the February 17th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them? And if so, if there are any comments, corrections, concerns, or motions?
Move they be approved as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion before we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, we will move into the public hearing section of the agenda tonight, and would ask anybody that's in the audience, if you do plan to speak, if you could sign up with Eva. Eva's right here in the green, and make sure that you sign in on the sign-in sheet, and then when you get up, please state your name and address for the record. If not, I will have to stop you midway and ask you to do that. All right, move into item 4A, REZ 2024-12, further information provided by staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Board. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. First item before you tonight is REZ 2024-12. It's a rezoning requested by DRB Group North Carolina LLC at 501, 509, and 517 Sunset Drive. Pins 0656755149, 0656759633, and pin 0656756659. The rezoning is a total of 17.21 acres from the residential agricultural and residential low-density zoning districts to the town center residential zoning district. The requested zoning district is consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan designation of town center residential. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the following reasons. 1, the requested zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan designation of town center residential. Number 2, the requested zoning district supports infill development and reinvestment in downtown neighborhoods per the 2040 LUP's recommendation policy 2.1, encourage infill development and redevelopment inside town limits. Number 3, the requested zoning district support falls within the LUP's Tier 2R infill investment area per the 2040 LUP's recommendation policy 4.1, manage future growth and development in accordance with the priority infrastructure investment areas map. Number 4, the requested zoning district is complementary to the existing uses in the general vicinity of the subject properties, and the proposed uses and site-specific conditions effectively manage the future development of the site. And number 5, the master plan and associated narrative demonstrate compliance with the zoning conditions being offered and the goals of the town center residential classification as described in the 2040 land use plan. You all have in front of you an email from a citizen, Melissa Green, who sent that over. She was unable to attend tonight, but wished that her comments would be entered into the record as opposition. I am available to answer any questions. I believe the petitioner is here tonight. And that's all I got.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for staff before we open the public hearing?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this time we will open up the public hearing, and we'll invite the petitioner to come up and make a statement if they would like.
Hi, my name is Jackson McConnell with DRB Group, 1101 Slater Road, Durham, North Carolina. I'm with the developer for this. I'm just here to answer any additional questions anyone might have about the project. I'm really excited about this, and thank you for having us here.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Eva, do we have anybody that signed up to speak in favor of this?
Yes, they did not indicate in favor or opposed on the sign-in sheet, but I will call them forward. I hope I pronounce it correctly. If I don't, please forgive me in advance. Murray Hill.
Hello. I'm neither for nor against. I just have concerns. My name is Murray Hill. I live at 215 Woodland Drive. It's approximately 500 feet from the potential northern entrance of the DRB development. I learned about this rezoning last week and about the developer itself once more information was finally posted online a few days ago. Since then, I've reviewed publicly available data from sources like the BBB and online consumer review platforms. These sources indicate a pattern of homeowner concerns related to DRB homes, including issues with post-sale service, warranty fulfillment, and several reported construction discrepancies. WRAL had a feature story in September of last year about issues at the company's Sydney Creek development in Zebulon. All of this information is easily located online, but I can send links to anyone who is interested. This documented history of homeowner complaints, combined with the development's proximity to multiple single-family subdivisions, raises significant concerns about the development's potential negative impact on surrounding property values, especially in the long term. What will these townhomes look like in 10 years, in 20? Before the town moves forward to approve rezoning, I have 3 concerns I'd like to see addressed. First, that the town council delay a rezoning decision until they investigate the developer's history of customer issues to consider the potential impacts on our community and its reputation as a quality place to live. No one wants to see Fuquay featured on WRAL, as Zebulon was. Second, to understand the potential risk to surrounding property values, I request a detailed analysis comparing the historical impact of DRB townhome developments on surrounding property values with that of similar developments by builders in comparable areas. This should also indicate whether DRB townhomes maintain their value at the same rate as other developments. This data will help the town assess whether any potential negative value impact to surrounding homes is likely. This zoning variance that the developer is asking for should not be granted without absolute assurance that a high-density development will enhance and not degrade the surrounding neighborhoods. Third, given the development's location, on the connecting neighborhood streets is unavoidable. I understand that they are building additional streets to connect to Hillcrest, but that's not going to take care of all of the traffic. I urge the town to proactively address this issue by requiring the developer to provide a comprehensive, fully funded traffic management plan for later implementation for all streets connecting to their development to major artery streets. This plan must prioritize pedestrian safety and include traffic calming and the addition of sidewalks where needed, and should be a condition of zoning approval.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to please wrap up, just so we generally limit comments to 3 minutes so that we can get everybody in.
Okay, I did ask today whether there would be a limit. I just have one more thing to say.
Sure, go ahead. I want you to be able to finish up. I just want to make sure that you understand.
Yes. In closing, I urge the planning board to make the rezoning process more transparent by adopting notification guidelines similar to Raleigh's. Specifically, Raleigh notifies residents within 500 feet for initial neighborhood rezoning meetings, and up to 1,000 feet in certain cases, which this development would have met. Instead, Fuquay only requires notifying residents within 200 feet. Expanding notification distances would allow more residents to participate early on in the process instead of only days before a decision is made. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Evie, do we have anybody else signed up?
We do not.
We do not. Is anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor? Let's go with in favor at first. Not really seeing too much in favor, then we'll go to the opposition. Are you in favor or opposition?
I am in favor, and
Okay.
I am with DRB Group, and I would just, and I'm sorry, what's your name, Mary?
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to need you to speak to us, okay? So if you need to talk to them after that,
Yes.
that's fine.
No,
I mean,
no
like right now
problem.
in this form.
I just wanted to make sure I got her name correct.
Sure.
I recognize, some of the issues that she raised. I guess a couple things I want to point out. Looking at the plan on the screen there, One, as I think Pam or your other staff representative pointed out, this is a good planning with the transition of uses from the higher density apartments and the medical facility to the east, and our proposed development buffering the existing single-family residential to the west. As she pointed out, this does complete a lot of these transportation legs that are identified on your long-range transportation plan. We are doing I think, a really good job of protecting the open space and natural areas. The existing pond that is there on the south side of the property, we intend to retain in its natural state. We've worked with both the homeowners associations that are on the west side of the property line there. The downstream side of the dam actually extends onto those properties, so we've worked out a long-term permanent maintenance and drainage easement where we can go in and maintain the back slope of that dam and make sure that that pond is saved in perpetuity. The other thing she mentioned was about the notification distance. We not only notified the 200 feet requirement by town of Fuquay, but we also notified both homeowners associations of the adjacent properties and asked them to reach out to all their residents to try to come to any neighborhood meetings. We offered 2 neighborhood meetings to try to allow people, if they had a conflict on one night, to come to the second. So I just wanted to clarify some of the things that we've done, and certainly understand her concerns, but we're here. We want to be good partners with the town of Fuquay-Varina, and hopefully if you have any additional questions, we're here to answer them.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Adam Ashbaugh. I'm with DRB Group, 1101 Slater Road, Durham.
Thank you.
Right there.
All right. One more chance for anybody in favor. All right. Switching gears. Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition that didn't sign up yet? All right. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion and questions to staff.
I have a quick question. The neighborhood meeting, the required format, does it normally require there to be an attendance list? Because I did not see one in this neighborhood meeting report, like who attended, either from the developer side or from the community side. I don't know if it's required or not. I've just been used to seeing it in most of the neighborhood meeting reports that we've gotten. Now, of course, this is on the developer to provide this, but I just want to make sure I understand if that's a requirement or not.
You're right, it is generally included.
Right.
We don't have a list of exactly what needs to be a structure, but.
Okay,
you're
so
right.
there's not like a checklist of include this, include that, all right, so, yeah, because that was kind of, other neighborhood meetings have included that kind of, we had these participants, and that kind of made it at least clear to us that there was either some engagement or no engagement from, because we've seen them where they've had them and there's been no attendance, so, all right, that's the only question I had on that.
Does anybody else have any questions for staff? I've got a couple of them. In looking at this plan right in front of us, Pam, it looks like they are providing like connection to 4 stub streets. One of the CTP showed like a street coming down on the east side of the hospital there on Ransom Street, and it doesn't look like we're doing that connection. Which just some clarity for the board as to what's driving that. Is that coming off the CTP, and this is we're just kind of in the midst of, because I know we're revising things. Is that what that's going on?
So this was one that the engineering director was involved in releasing them from that connection based on the fact that that dead ends into a parking lot right now. So
Right.
that's not realistic. There will be a CTP update coming up very
Right.
shortly in the next couple of months. But with that said, there was also an exemption for, there is a rule that over 100 lots, you do need to have at least one primary entrance onto a type 8 road or larger. As an infill project, Sunset Drive is not a type 8, and there is no type 8 roads adjacent to this. So as a trade-off, the engineering director did exempt from that requirement. But as a balance, we are requiring, and they agreed to construct Hillcrest over on the south entrance there, there's a section of it. Not only will they do it to their property line, hold on, let me go back to the master plan. You can see it in the bottom of this, but there is a section of existing right-of-way that does not actually contain a road today. So they will actually be connecting that, creating, one more access point to disperse traffic.
And you said there's 100 and how many lots on this proposed?
111.
111. Would that trigger a TIA at some point in this process?
Most likely, the TIA is 100 peak hour, 1,000 daily average trips, so that would be with a preliminary subdivision.
Right, okay.
And if it didn't, then they'd have to supply a trip generation letter that justified why they didn't trigger the analysis.
Right.
And I just want to clarify for the folks out in the audience and listening to us online, TIA is traffic analysis. We throw the acronyms around, but I just want to make sure everyone understands what we're
Right,
talking
so
about.
every preliminary subdivision is going to submit either a trip generation letter justifying why they don't trigger a traffic impact analysis or the traffic impact analysis.
And then any improvements would be on the developer to provide, even if it was off-site.
Right, so improvements are based on both CTP required and anything identified by the traffic impact analysis.
Gotcha.
So I have a question on that Ransom Street connection there. If I look at the right-of-way, it looks like the town has not procured the right-of-way from West Ransom going down to Hillcrest. It's only kind of partial. So was that one of the reasonings for not doing that?
Yes, and if you look
Yeah, because
on the aerials in that top corner, you can see it's just a private parking lot.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with that facility, but I guess the question is that it looks like we never actually kind of carved out the right-of-way to actually make that happen, so somebody would actually have to give something up in order for us to do that, although we did manage to get a little chunk there for a right-of-way, but that's pretty useless. I would also suggest that it might be worth the town looking at maybe returning that to whether it's to the medical facility or whatever, because if we're not going to build it and not going to use it as part of we could return that to somebody that can actually use it.
Any more questions for the?
Well, I'll also state that there's actually 5 connections now.
5. Where do you count 5?
You look at the master plan.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually five ways in and out of this community. And of course, it does actually connect and complete in a throughway existing downtown streets. So that was to me, that's, it's going to be a positive thing for, kind of the general connectivity and traffic flow, especially as we're looking at walkable community within the Judd Parkway. This would be a piece of it, so.
Yeah.
But
I would also like to address that we as the planning board, we review and make recommendations to our town board on uses, not necessarily who the users are. So while those comments are, they're informative, but they're not something that we can take into consideration when we review a zoning case. We're really looking at this as, does the zoning comply with our standards and our criteria that we've set forth in our land use plan, not who end users are. Not really allowed to do those things. So no more discussion. We entertain a motion if anybody's willing to do that, or if there's any more questions.
I move we recommend approval of REZ 2024-11, a zoning map amendment for 501, 509, 517 Sunset Drive from residential agricultural RA and residential low-density RLD zoning districts to the town center residential TCR zoning district, as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by staff.
So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? We have a second. So is there any further discussion that's needed or questions need to be answered before we vote? Everybody understands what we're voting on? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to item 4B, REZ 2024-19, further information provided by staff.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Chair. Once again, I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. Second item before you tonight is REZ 2024-19. It is a rezoning requested by Mr. Steve Hamilton. at 900 and 904 West Academy Street, pins 0656360283 and 0656269149. This rezoning is a total of 1.233 acres from the residential low density zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district. There is also a land use plan amendment request included with this rezoning from the single-family neighborhood and open space classifications to the suburban commercial and open space classifications. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment and corresponding land use plan amendment as they are reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the following reasons. Number one, although the requested zoning map amendment is not consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan classification of single-family neighborhood and open space, the petitioner has opted to request a change of the land use plan to suburban commercial and open space, which is compatible with the property's existing use. Number two, the requested zoning district supports the LUP's policy encourage infill development and redevelopment inside town limits. Number three, the requested zoning district supports the LUP policy 2.6, encourage commercial development. Number four, the requested zoning district supports the LUP's policy 4.1, manage future growth and development in accordance with the priority infrastructure investment areas map. And number five, the proposed conditions offered as part of the petition align with the goals of the 2040 land use plan and effectively plan for the site's future development potential. Petitioner's here tonight, and I am also available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for staff? All right, sounds like we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll open the public hearing and give the petitioner an opportunity to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is John Adcock of the Adcock Law Firm at 202 East Academy Street. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner. This rezoning is about Hamilton Auto. It's a business that's been located in Fuquay-Varina since around 1957. These parcels are, the two parcels that are being requested to be rezoned are parts of the business that are used as part of the business now. 904 West Academy has the garage that was built around in 1968. And my clients just want to have this property zoned consistently as it is all consistently used with part of the business. And also the property 900 West Academy is mostly an unusable lot. Has significant environmental sensitive features associated with it, including a 100-year flood. It's got a floodway, actually, a FEMA floodway, as well as a 100-year flood zone and a 500-year flood zone. And those areas are identified as open space on the land use plan, and that's going to remain the same. So I'll be glad to answer any questions if the board has any.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Adcock? Looks like we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll go through anybody that has signed up that wishes to speak in favor of this zoning case. Eva, we have anybody?
We do not.
Okay. Anybody wish to speak in opposition? We have anybody signed up, Eva?
No.
No. Is there anybody in the audience that did not sign up that wishes to speak either in opposition or in favor of? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring the table back to the discussion for the board. The thing is, it's kind of one we may have whiffed on the land use plan on this one for a little bit on.
It was just an oversight.
Yeah, I mean it happens. There's so many properties.
Yeah.
It's just.
And we will be bringing a CTP and LUP update shortly in the next couple months, and this is one of those that will adjust and so that's why the Hamilton's the real site of the auto place is not included in this,
Right.
Because we'll make that correction.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion. We're ready.
I think that's awesome.
Move to recommend approval of REZ 2024-19, a zoning map amendment for 900 and 904 West Academy Street from the residential low-density zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district, and corresponding land use plan amendment from the single-family neighborhood and open space classification to the suburban commercial and open space classifications, as is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by staff.
Second.
All right, I didn't get a chance to ask. All right, motion and a second. Any other further discussion before we vote? All right, everybody understand what we're voting on? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item 4C, REZ 2024-21, zoning map amendment 304 East Broad Street, pin 0667012564, was requested to be tabled at the request of the petitioner to the April 21st, 2025 planning board meeting. I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
So we're gonna,
Oh.
we're gonna open the public hearing
You
first.
have to open.
Oh, yeah.
You have to open.
My talk sheet did not say to open
Oh,
it.
sorry.
All right, we will open the public hearing. And now we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved. Yeah.
The motion will be to continue the public hearing to the April
21st.
21st and table consideration.
You want to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay. All right, got a motion? Got a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Said it so well, I didn't need to repeat it, you know.
All right. Public hearing item 4D, REZ 2025-01, further information provided by staff.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Chair. Once again, I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. Fourth item before you tonight is RAZ 2025-01, a rezoning requested by Wayne Malden of Malden Watkins Surveying, PA, at 629 West Academy Street, PIN number 0656563866. This rezoning is a total of 1.44 acres from the residential, agricultural, and residential low-density zoning districts to the neighborhood commercial conditional zoning district. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the following reasons. Number one, requested zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan for neighborhood commercial designation. Number two, the requested zoning district supports the LUP's policy 2.1, encourage infill development and redevelopment inside town limits. Number three, the requested zoning district supports the LUP's policy 2.6, encourage commercial development. Number four, the requested zoning district supports the LUP's policy 4.1, manage future growth and development in accordance with the priority infrastructure investment areas map. And number five, the proposed conditions offered as part of the petition align with the goals of the 2040 land use plan and effectively plan for the site's future development potential. Petitioner's here tonight, and I am also here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, I think we're good.
All right, thank you.
At this time, we will open the public hearing and let the petitioner come up and make a statement.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, Wayne Malden, Malden Watkins Surveying at 139 North Main Street. I'm here tonight on behalf of Mr. Klein. Most of you know this site's located at the intersection of Highway 42 and Judd Parkway, which is fast becoming a major intersection circling town. It's not really lending itself to a residential use. Mr. Klein is like myself, he's getting on up there and looking to relocate and just trying to get this sold as the best use for this site at its location. If any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Malden? I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ava, we got anybody signed up to speak in favor of this one?
We do not.
Have anybody signed up to speak in opposition?
No.
Does anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor or opposition that did not sign up? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion. This is the house with all the cool Christmas lights for all of you that may not know.
I need a condition to add the Christmas lights.
Gotta follow the zoning.
Second that.
Whoever develops it, so keep up with it.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
all right.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of REZ 2025-01, a zoning map amendment for 629 West Academy Street from residential agriculture and residential low-density zoning districts to the neighborhood commercial conditional zoning district as it is reasonable and the best interest in the public for the reasons identified by staff.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion points or questions? Before we vote, everybody knows what they're voting on? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I believe we have one more public hearing. Public hearing item 4E, CTA 2025-01, further information provided by staff.
All right, this is the last you get of me tonight. All right. Once again, I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. This final public hearing before you tonight is the first text amendment of 2025, CTA 2025-01. It is a text amendment to the land development ordinance requested by town staff. I'm going to go over sort of a highlight reel of the most impactful items, but if anybody has any questions as to those or any other items, just let me know. First one is an allowance for a place of worship to have a parsonage on site as an accessory use. Second is a cleanup and standardization of the townhouse setback standards across zoning districts including the TCR and the PUD zoning districts. We have expanded, the expanded minor allowance that was recently added as a development option has been renamed the exempt major, as it's a more apt description, gives you a better idea of what you're actually getting into with that. The responsibility for approval of sureties has been given to the town manager or designee as they assign them. Article L, our sign article, has undergone a minor rewrite, just reorganization and trying to streamline some things in there. And certifications for acceptance of the dedication of right-of-ways via minor and exempt plats have been added in response to some changes made to Wake County's recordation requirements. So those are the highlights. Again, it was a pretty long amendment, so if you guys have any questions, we're here to answer those. But I'll give you our recommendation and then we can chat as necessary. Staff recommend approval of the proposed town code amendment. It is reasonable and in the public's best interest, as it improves upon the land development ordinances intent to modernize, provide sustainability, and allow for ease of use and enforcement concerning the town standards.
All right, we have any questions for Alyssa on this one?
I have just a quick question on the sign changes. They look to all be, in my view, kind of cosmetic. It was renaming and readjusting. I didn't see any actual changes in how we were doing signs.
Yeah, there's the categories, the buckets of signs that we have,
Right.
different categories.
It was like a
Have never
reshuffling.
been very straightforward,
Right.
and so the attempt was to organize those a little bit better for ease of use.
Right, so we really aren't changing how we do signs or anything like that. We're just changing how we name them or how we group them together
Yeah.
and
Our code enforcement officials really took a good, hard look at the sign amendment, and between them and Pam and everybody, we kind of
This hasn't been
narrowed it down a
updated
little
since
bit.
like pre-2017, so
Yeah.
the terminology we were using did not match a lot of the sign companies.
Right.
Words
Well,
nowadays.
Yeah, it didn't even match it the time we were putting them in, but it was like, because we actually, so these were inherited from the previous ordinance, so in terms of the
Right.
naming. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, when I see something like that, I just want to make sure I'm not missing that we're, okay, now, we're allowing billboards in town or something ridiculous like that.
No.
Just I want to make sure that this amendment for, on the sign specifically was really just about recategorizing, reorganizing, relabeling, and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yep.
a shuffle, not any, because I didn't see any, but I wanted to validate that. Thank you.
Correct, no problem.
Any more questions for staff on the CTA amendment? I think we're good.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Eva, we got anybody signed up?
No, we have nobody.
Okay. I didn't figure that was gonna be a huge, real popular one, but, all right. Is anybody in the audience that didn't sign up that wishes to speak in favor or opposition? All right, this time we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion or motions.
I'll make a motion. We're ready.
Think we're ready. Any questions for staff? I think we're ready.
All right, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of CTA 2025-01, Amendment Number 29, an amendment to the Town Code of Ordinances, Part 9, Land Development Ordinance, as presented and recommended by staff.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second, and a second. All right, before we take a vote, everybody knows what they're voting on? Any last-minute questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are finally done with public hearings for the night. So we'll move into other business, 5A, preliminary subdivision plat, Spring Valve South Subdivision, sub PR 2024-07. Further information provided by staff. Oh, we get a new one.
I am not Alyssa Holman. And the irony that I am the only thing standing between us and supper is not lost on me. The proposed subdivision plat you have before you tonight is sub PR 2024-07, titled Springvale South Subdivision. It's located at 3799 Wellfleet Drive on just over 10 acres in the residential medium district zoning district. The plat proposes 22 single-family detached lots with an average lot size of 12,179 square feet. The subdivision does not require open space. However, 2.59 acres, or a little over a quarter of the overall project, is proposed as open space at this time. Springvale South is proposing an extension of the existing Wellfleet Drive stub, and that's how it will provide vehicular access to the project area. And there will also be a proposed cross street that will be stubbed at the eastern project boundary to provide the required future connection through the adjacent parcel that sits between the subject parcel and the ultimate Kennebec Road right-of-way. No traffic data is available since the Wellfleet Drive is a town-maintained residential street. Public water and sewer is available via Springvale subdivision to the north and will be extended by the developer. The proposed preliminary subdivision plat meets all town requirements, and management staff recommend approval. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Got any questions for Josh?
Nope.
I think we're good. Any other questions for staff or clarification or motions?
I'll make a motion. Recommend approval of the Springvale South subdivision plat sub PR 2024-07 as presented and recommended.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, move on to administrative reports. Purpose of this agenda item is to receive information on the disposition of the planning board's recommendations to the town board of commissioners since the February 17th, 2025 planning board meeting. Anybody see anything interesting in that one? Looked like we were still batting 1,000. I was at that meeting. So, all right. With that being said, Barbara, I think it's your time to shine.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.